Hi, my name is Amy Traylor, and I'm an MFA candidate in the Experimental Art and Technology program at the University of New Mexico. During this talk, I'll give you an overview of my practice and also present to you several works that led thematically to my thesis exhibit. My work exists between art, anthropology, and computation. My bachelor's degree is in anthropology, and the things that I learned during those 4 years have stuck with me throughout the last 20 years. Though I work across multiple mediums, my primary medium is software. The tools and philosophies of writing software informs all of my work. Some of the themes in my work are generativity and generative systems, complexity, computation, ritual, bearing witness, and the interplay between our personal biology and the culture that we create. One quote that really ties together for me computation, complex systems, and also frequently biology is a quote from the book Complexity: A Guided Tour by Melanie Mitchell. She says that computation are the calculations a complex system makes to survive or optimize existence. In my work, I'm not as concerned with what does the artwork mean. I'm more interested in how does the artwork act? What are the emotional, sensory, and kinesthetic responses alongside the interpretive ones? The first piece I'm going to show you is from 2016. It's entitled Sunsets for Mike and Carmen. It was first shown at the Currents New Media Festival in Santa Fe and then again at the UNM Art Museum. Sunsets for Mike and Carmen is a piece of software that I wrote in 2016. It's a generative radial slit scan comprised of social media sunsets. In August of 2016, my friend Mike took his own life. He had recently moved to Florida with his wife Carmen to start over and live the life they'd worked so hard for. Almost every day he posted pictures of the sunset slowly slipping into the Gulf of Mexico. These sunsets were evidence of his relentless spirit and a welcome respite from the banality of social media. After his death, I was desperate to do something for Carmen to help ease her pain, so I decided Mike's sunsets should live on as a small gift to her. This piece uses a set of Mike's original images and is designed to incorporate new contributed images. As you watch the sunrise and take in the view, you cannot keep the experience. It is never the same twice. Similarly, each individual sunset generated is unique and fleeting. As long as the code runs, new sunsets will be sent into the world. During exhibition, users are invited to take new sunset images and text them to me. Every morning, the new images will be added to the queue and incorporated into the freshly generated new sunsets. I'm going to play a few minutes of the generative software for you, including at the beginning a small glimpse of the code. The next piece I want to show you is the Bioshield Project from 2019. It debuted originally at the UNM Art Museum and then went on to the Biodesign Challenge at Parsons School of Design in New York, as well as being displayed at the Bio Summit later that year at the MIT Media Lab. Bioshield is a work of design fiction that explores a surreal future of understanding and harvesting one's own bodily chemosignals to use consciously, and the real-world implications of such a product. The Bioshield Tear Collector is a product that collects a woman's own tears to mask the biochemical signals of her ovulatory cycle for the purposes of privacy, protection, and control. Men can subconsciously detect when a woman is ovulating through chemical signaling. There is evidence that the rise in testosterone men experience while smelling ovulating women can be counteracted by a chemosignal present in women's negative emotion-related tears. Bioshield seeks to make women chemically invisible by exposing the people around them to their tears. This would potentially ward off sexual harassment and microaggressions. This project was presented as a group at the Biodesign Challenge at Parsons School of Design in the summer of 2019. And one of the greatest things that came out of this project was the participation and the sharing. At the summit, we met other groups from all over the world, and we had about 800 rings that people were allowed to take back with them. And people were really excited and took back 10, 20 rings because they wanted to share them with other people in their lab. They wanted to share them with other people in their department, with their friends, with their daughters, with their sisters. And so in that way, we spread the Bioshield message and our ideas all around the world. And that was incredibly satisfying. And in this way, the Bioshield Project was also a generative system. We designed the rings, we shared the rings on our website, and then people, by taking them with them and telling other people about the rings as a conversation piece, our message really spread around the world. The Bioshield Project was also about ritual and bearing witness to others' pain. It was also a statement about biology and how our individual biology really influences the culture that we live in. And what the artwork did is it started a conversation, a powerful conversation that we were allowed to share with people from all around the world. And that conversation hopefully will continue as people see the rings, and it sparks new conversations about microaggressions, about our ability to live in the world safely, and about what kind of culture that we want to live in. The themes that were important to me in Sunsets and Mike and Carmen and in the Bioshield Project continue to exist in the final piece I want to show you today, my thesis project. We Have No Room, a study in the Ritual Practices of Infertility, that was shown at the UNM Arts Lab in 2020. My art is frequently not about me personally or my personal experience, but it is about the experiences of the small groups of people that I interact with and that are important to me. I see it as practicing the anthropology of the near. My thesis show was inspired by watching many dear friends struggle with infertility and my research into the science of infertility. After countless hours of research into embryo development and the science of embryo research and the current cultural stakes of assisted reproductive technology, it really struck me how so much of the focus was on the science and so little focus was on the women who were actually experiencing this trauma. I believe in our culture, we tend to separate out intuition from science and emotions from science. And in this context of seeing friends go through assisted reproductive technology, I think it's really sad and it does not express the full experience. I found this wonderful quote from Bertrand Russell from his essay Mysticism and Logic. The opposition of instinct and reason is mainly illusory. Instinct, intuition, or insight is what first leads to the beliefs which subsequent reason confirms or confutes. But the confirmation, where it is possible, consists in the last analysis of agreement with other beliefs no less instinctive. Reason is a harmonizing, controlling force rather than a creative one. Even in the most purely logical realm, it is insight that first arrives at what is new. What I strived for in We Have No Room is to create an installation where people could come and allow their intuitive side, their logical side, and their creative or intuitive instincts to live in one space. I'm going to show you a brief excerpt of my documentation from We Have No Room. It consists of several components. There was a double screen that had projections of science videos of the assisted reproductive technology process. There were also 22 sculptural lamps hanging from the ceiling that projected onto the floor the flower of life symbol, which is an ancient symbol from sacred geometry. There was also a refrigerator, a cooler full of edible embryos that were an invitation for participation from the audience. It was really an open-ended invitation. I didn't want to dictate what they would get from the participation, but I believed it would allow a more personal, visceral experience of bearing witness to what was happening in the room. Again, what's really important to me is not what artwork means. It's how does the artwork act? And after We Have No Room closed, I had a really wonderful comment from a visitor that let me know for at least one person, at least for one visitor, how the piece acted upon them. Never have I felt as inside out as I did at We Have No Room. It made me sit with considerations of what it means to be a body with the potential capacities to make other bodies, and the chemical, physical, and emotional control we place on these bodies to either allow or disallow the process. The show is beautiful, introspective, and upsetting. What does my artwork do? Generative systems and complexity, along with computation, allow me to create new rituals that allow participants to bear witness to other people's experiences. My artwork allows for new conversations where formerly there might have only been silence. My artwork allows for people to access the uncomfortable. My artwork creates new rituals that allow for new cultural practices. These new cultural practices, I hope, are those of connectedness and empathy. What's next for me? In the fall, I plan on starting a PhD program in computer science with Leah Beakley and her Hand and Machine group here at UNM. I also will continue my research on the history of creative technology and the legacy of Charlie Maddox here in New Mexico. I will also continue to teach my computer programming for artists curriculum to new audiences, including the Computer Science Professional Development Week this summer at UNM. Thank you.